Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California joins us. Also joining us, MSNBC senior contributing editor Michelle Norris is here, and Princeton University professor, MSNBC political analyst Eddie Glaude is here as well. Congressman, we start with you and your reaction to what you're seeing in the polls.
Well, everyone wants to see the Epstein files, Nicole. MAGA wants to see it because they now fear Donald Trump is lying to them. Democrats want to see it because the reason we've always wanted to see the files. It's about the truth. It's not about politics. It's about victims. And the truth is, many of these victims were teenage girls who had real wrongs done to them. And our job is to protect the most vulnerable. And actually, consistently over a decade, there's one group who has always known the danger of Donald Trump, and that's women. And it's no surprise that women, when it relates to Epstein, believe that he's lying to them. After all, they've seen their own rights just in the last few years over their own bodies taken away from them. So they have real questions about Donald Trump. And when it comes to women and Donald Trump, no one has been worse for them. That's why I believe he's in this free fall in the polls right now. It's women.
What is the state of bipartisan conversations about gaining access to all the files?
Last week when I was walking to a vote, I kind of came right into a Republican as we were coming from different hallways, kind of almost clashed into each other, and he put out his fist and gave me a fist bump and said, "Thank you." Now, I had just, over the last couple of days, been pretty loudly calling for the release of the files. And so Democrats are doing what Republicans are not willing to do. We are open for whistleblowers to come forward and share information that they may have. We're forcing votes in every imaginable committee. And we're showing when we are in the majority, we will use our subpoena power to seek accountability. But I wouldn't count on these guys one bit to do the right thing and release the files. And they have the subpoena power. They have that power. It doesn't take a vote in Congress. The Speaker of the House could subpoena it today, but he won't, because he's going to do everything possible to protect Donald Trump.
Congressman, was it a priority to gain access to the files while President Biden was in office, or is it something that Elon Musk and Trump's own supporters have returned your attention to?
Well, as far back as 2019, because I wanted to go back and make sure that this was something that I had always been interested in, I was calling for the release, and I was calling for the resignation of Andrew Acosta, who was the Department of Labor secretary who gave Epstein his first sweetheart deal. And Elijah Cummings on the Oversight Committee led investigations into these files. And so I say, here we are now. Donald Trump is president. And if you think Joe Biden should have done more to release them, well, Donald Trump has the power to do that. And in the MAGA movement, if you know this movement, and I'm the son of two Republicans, married a girl from Southern Indiana, I'm around a lot of Republicans, the Epstein files are the flour to the cake. And Donald Trump is telling his supporters now, go ahead and eat cake, but no flour. Substitute it with something else. It doesn't work that way, and that's why it's not going away.
What is the next move? It seems like Speaker Johnson blinked or balked under pressure from Donald Trump, arguably. What can you do in the minority to gain access to the files?
We're going to force more votes this week in committee. So anything that comes to the floor of the House, I know my colleagues on the Rules Committee will continue to make them vote down releasing the files. And so the American people will know the names of the Republicans who want to bury these files deep beneath the earth and are willing to take out all the shovels to prevent you from finding them. And so we're not going to let this go away. And again, we have to make it clear, though, Nicole, this is about victims and protecting the most vulnerable in our community and knowing the names, not of the victims, but knowing the names of those who exploited them.
Kash Patel said to House Republicans, quote, put on your big boy pants and tell us who the pedophiles are. Would you find yourself in agreement with Kash Patel, Congressman?
Yeah, he should put on his big boy pants and just release the files, because he also said in that same interview who is blocking the files from being released. He said it's the FBI director. Well, now you have the president, the attorney general, and the FBI director, all who have access to them, all have promised them are the ones who are burying them. It doesn't take an act of Congress. They can do it. But if they're not going to do it, I don't know why my Republican colleagues would protect them from doing it when they have the subpoena power. And if Republicans in Congress aren't going to do it, Democrats will force votes on this, will receive information about this, and when we are in the majority, we will deliver on this.
I wonder what, as Democrats, you think the opportunity is to maybe re-engage some voters on issues of credibility and truth-telling.
Yeah, and accountability, and showing that at the end of the day, we want the facts and we want accountability. And frankly, people just don't trust government. They don't like how much money is involved. They don't like the dirty maps that are drawn as congressional lines and local lines are put together. They don't like that members of Congress are allowed to trade stocks. And so we have a real opportunity, to have a clean-up government agenda as we go into the midterms. And what we can do in a shadow way right now over the next 16 months, because we are not helpless, is, as I said, is to receive information, to force votes, to bring forward and animate, the stories of individuals, who have been affected by the corrupt culture that Republicans are enabling.
I remember when I guess I was maybe kindergarten, and someone in school, they were talking about political parties, and I asked my mom what we were, and she was like, we're Democrats because Democrats fight for the people. That was what she said. And my mom is still a Democrat today, but I don't know how much our party is still true to that, but I do know that that's our historical legacy, is the party that fights for the little guy. And I think we're at our best when we do that today. We're at our worst when we stray from that.
I would agree with that.
So I still believe the Democratic Party can get back to those roots. I hope last year was a wake-up call.
Congressman, your reaction?
Very moving, and gives me hope that even in Texas, because as you said, he is having a moment that will land and resonate. I'll tell you, as a son of a cop, a blue-collar kid, first in the family to go to college, I saw myself as a Democrat because Republicans fight for the rich and Democrats fight for the rest. But the larger point here, and you asked right before we went to a commercial, how do we reach more voters on this message of why they should have the Epstein files? What the Assembly member is doing is he's going into more spaces and places. I made a decision after the last election when I saw that 68% of the voters identified as Christian in one way or another, that I needed to do Christian podcasts. And I've been doing about 1 to 2 a month. I was raised as a Christian. I went to a Christian college on a soccer scholarship, but I would not talk about my faith because I thought it didn't really belong in politics. But what I've seen is that Republicans are weaponizing faith, and it's actually to our own disadvantage to not talk about it. And so we have to do things that are uncomfortable, and that's what I think is so inspiring about that interview.